Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today I'm going to talk about the latest Doctor Who news, including Russell's recent quotes about the 2026 Doctor Who Christmas special, as well as an interesting rumour that I actually got sent by one of you, which I found very interesting, as well as talk a little bit about the early previews for The War Between the Land and the Sea and the new action figures that just got announced. All that and more coming up, so sit back, relax, and enjoy as I take you through all the latest Doctor Who news. So the real thing I wanted to cover in this video was this. Doctor Who 2026 Christmas special gets fresh update from Russell T Davies after BBC confirms future. There's a long way ahead for the Christmas special, but Davies knows exactly what will happen in it. So this was part of the interviews during the press screening for The War Between the Land and the Sea. I believe this one is in London. There is also one happening in Cardiff tomorrow at the time of recording this, which I think I managed to get a ticket for. I don't really know. They said I'm on the list. I said that, like, I emailed to ask me put on the waiting list if a space came up. Apparently it has, because I'm now on the list. So if I do get into that, I'll let you know. Obviously I won't be able to talk about War Between the Land and the Sea itself until after the embargo lifts and stuff, but I'll be able to give, like, my very, 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 very kind of spoilery, non-spoilery thoughts on the show that night, hopefully, so look out for that. But yeah, that's the context with which Russell was asked this question by Radio Times, so let's take a listen.
In the universe we know is Christmas 2026.
Yes.
What's the status of that? Are you writing at the moment?
It's not at the moment, actually, because I'm busy on this. I'm also shooting a show in Manchester, so next year, well, which is any day now, but next year my plate clears and we'll get to work on that.
Great. Ideas already percolating? Anything you can
Oh, I know exactly what happens in it. Yeah. Don't worry about that. And yes, I'll tell you the entire plot now.
So there you go, there's his quote. I don't know why it just started giving me an ad for a film there, but yeah, that was the quote basically. He says he has not started writing the special yet, which is interesting because it kind of pours cold water on a lot of the rumours of filming, maybe even, in the spring. I find it highly unlikely that we're going to be seeing filming, in the first couple of months of 2026 if Russell himself is saying he hasn't started yet. Obviously, he does say there that he knows what's going to happen in it. How much I believe him on that, I don't really know. Like, obviously, he is known for kind of like trolling the press, and there he even said, I'll tell you the entire plot right now, which obviously was a joke from him to basically, say that, like, obviously I can't tell you anything about it. But yeah, obviously, the interesting part there is that he says he hasn't started writing it yet. So any kind of plot leaks we have probably aren't accurate, or at the very least, anything that we do have leak-wise are probably early concepts. In all fairness, the one leak that I did cover was more like early concepts of they just want to try and get as many people in it as possible, which I still could see as being something that they'd want to do. But by the sounds of it, in terms of like an actual plot, nothing is really like concrete yet. So I guess I'll postpone my little theory video for a little while longer. I was going to do a video covering your guys' theories for what that episode could be, but given he hasn't even started writing yet, it feels probably a bit premature to make that video. But the other thing I found interesting about this was him saying, obviously, he knows what's going to happen in it. So again, is that just him saying that to kind of like, build up hype or intrigue or troll, or does he genuinely know exactly what he wants to do with it? Quite honestly, and I've said this before, and I especially got this feeling after Doctor Who Day, I get the sense that Russell's kind of done with Doctor Who. I get the sense that he kind of just wants to get through War Between, get through this special that the BBC have commissioned him for, and then leave. Like, I don't get the sense that he wants to stick around all too much longer. You kind of get the feeling that he's ready to move on. Because, like, the interesting thing, a lot of people kind of, like, prescribe this idea onto RTD of, like, this gatekeeper, someone who wants to close the doors behind him and only let him and his mates be, like, involved in Doctor Who, which I really don't see, because if you look at that man, I don't know whether that's a guy who wants to be, like, doing this for the next 5 years. Do you know, I just don't get that sense. I get much more of the sense that he came back to try and obviously keep the show going. It hasn't really worked out in the way that he wanted it to, and now he wants to move on. That's the vibe I get, because the thing is, he's got a good career outside of Doctor Who. He's got other shows going on. He's been filming in Manchester for his new project Tiptoe as well. So I don't really get the sense of him, like, wanting to cling on to this show. I think, if anything, if he does stay on, which I think is becoming increasingly unlikely, given, everything that's happened, like I said, in my YouTube short about Doctor Who Day. He didn't even like, you know, wish Doctor Who like a happy Doctor Who Day. We got like a little Instagram video of his mate on the TARDIS, which everyone was confused by, but we never actually got him saying, you know, happy Doctor Who Day, which is kind of odd, but to me kind of indicates that he's kind of just done at this stage, like if you want my honest opinion on that. Could be wrong and he could stay, but I get the feeling that if he does stay, it's not going to be because he wants to be the one doing it, but more the BBC can't find anyone else. I don't know, that's just my kind of thoughts on that. But the more time has gone on, the more I'm convinced that I think he wants to leave after this special. And I think if the BBC find a new successor for him, then that's probably what's going to happen, in my opinion. Obviously, as I mentioned, it was the premiere for War Between in London last night. Obviously had all the cast members there. Russell T Davies, Russell Tovey, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, Alexander Devrian, Gemma Redgrave, you know, all the people we know are going to be in this show. Ruth Madley as well. So yeah, that happened last night. And what's interesting is, while we don't know much about it, obviously you can see here, this is an interview with the two main characters of the show, Barclay and Salt, or obviously, as I said, Russell Tovey and Gugu. Here, this is just a quick video of them on Instagram talking about their favourite scenes to film, which I couldn't glean much from. You can watch that on the Doctor Who Instagram if you want to. I didn't find it particularly interesting, so I'm going to move on from that. But obviously, we did have several journalists there, and obviously, we're probably going to be starting to hear advanced reviews for the next couple of days as well. And obviously, as I said, I'm going to try and give you a very abridged, spoiler-free thoughts if I do manage to get to that thing tomorrow. But obviously, Darren Scott, who is with SFX Magazine, said, "Had a fantastic evening at the launch of The War Between Land and Sea. I was not ready for how brilliant this was. More of this sort of thing, please. Also, there's a great visit feature in the next issue of SFX Magazine on sale 5th of December, not written by me." So, yeah, obviously, he's saying that, like, he was shocked by how much he enjoyed it, and that, if anything, it's more of the sort of thing he wants for Doctor Who, which gives me hope, because obviously Darren writes for like an SFX magazine, so a science fiction magazine, which obviously, you know, is probably a bit more grounded, so maybe that gives the idea of this maybe being a bit more grounded, a bit more, you know, hard, like science fiction, and maybe a bit darker, which is something I've said for a while I've wanted to see from this universe, and if they can deliver that with this, then I'll be happy. As I said, my anticipation has been quietly building for this show. I think that it's looking better all the time. Obviously, we'll see how it comes out. Obviously, potentially, I could be seeing it as early as tomorrow, so that's kind of mad. It's come around very quickly. I'm still shocked as to how there's been, like, no proper trailer for it since Reality War. Again, one assumes that's due to the split of the release date between the BBC and Disney, but still, it's kind of bizarre. It really does feel like it's being kind of shadow dropped. In other news, though, we did have the official release of the next character options action figures, the Vortex Online exclusive ones, and these are the last figures to be released this year, as far as I can tell, and they are Constable Zarig and Sergeant Zogroth, the Wrath Warrior set from the Starbase. Now, if you know anything about the action figures, you know that these boys have been rumoured for a very long time. We got early prototypes of these as early as either late 2023, early 2024 at Toy Fair, and there was kind of talks for a while as to whether these would make it, whether they were cost effective or not, and obviously now they've got the Vortex edition, which is, you know, the more premium kind of fan line. They have decided to make them. Apparently they are very tall. I have ordered mine, but they look very good, and I have to say, because I have often been very critical of character options, I think this has been one of their best years for releases in quite some time. Even just on the Vortex edition front alone, we've had the Wrath Warriors, Beat with the Meep in a new 14th Dr. Coatless version. We basically have all the stuff you would want from the Starbeast 60th special. The only thing I'd like to see now from the other 60th specials would be like a Toymaker and a Donna, but I think both of those might have difficulty due to likenesses. But obviously we also had this year as well, we had the new Master Anthony Ainley figure, which is really, really cool, really, really nice. I'm just refamiliarizing myself with what actually came out this year. We got the repaints of the Special Weapons Dalek for B&M, which I was very grateful to grab because I didn't have one in my collection. The re-release of the 50th Doctor's TARDIS with the interior card, obviously a B&M set as well. Revenge Cybermen from B&M, and the 3rd Doctor online exclusive as well with the metal-coated sonic screwdriver. So do you know what? I have to say, one of the best years for the line in a while. Obviously those Daleks, which were a bit of a letdown because the colours were completely off, but the gunstick was cool. But like, as someone who does collect the figures, and obviously, as you can see, enjoys collecting the figures, I have to say this has been one of the best years for the line in a very long time. I haven't put up much of the new stuff yet. I'm having a big reshuffle in January, so I'm probably going to do it then. But yeah, fair play to character options. You know, I've been very critical of them in the past, particularly for their lack of more recent figures and like more monsters. And in fairness to them, they've more than delivered that this year, you know, with obviously the Wrath and Beat the Meep as well. The one thing I can hope for is maybe some actual, you know, 15th Doctor era monsters or characters beyond the Doctor and Ruby for next year, given that, you know, that era is over. I do find it kind of funny that, like, the 14th Doctor era, being 3 episodes long, is better represented now than, like, the entire 15th Doctor era, which is 2 seasons long. But in any case, I'm still glad to get them. Would have been nice to get some of this stuff around like the 60th or around when, you know, these things were relevant. I know it's one of my big issues with character is they always get this stuff out, you know, 2 years after, it ultimately is on screen. But still, better to have it than not have it at all. So I'll take what I can get. Well done, character. You've had a good year, and I hope to see more of this going forward. So this is interesting. I got sent an email by someone who watches the channel. His name was Goran. I hope he doesn't mind me doxing him, but he sent me a link to, of all things, John Simm's Wikipedia, because he told me that there's an interesting entry onto John Simm's Wikipedia in the Doctor Who bit specifically. Obviously, it goes through his career and all of his credits. You got Life on Mars here, which is, oh, I love Life on Mars. Anyway, but you've got Doctor Who here, which says, obviously, The Master, and then, as you can see, Series 3 and 10, and 2009 Christmas Special, and 2026 Christmas Special. And obviously, normally with Wikipedia, they'll have like a list of like sources for where, you know, each credit comes from. Obviously, in this case, I couldn't find a sourcing for him being in the 2026 Christmas Special. However, it hasn't been removed from the site. Obviously, Wikipedia is community edited, so I'm not going to say that this is like official or something, because it could have just been someone editing the website who got something wrong or is trolling, but this has been up for the last few days on Wikipedia because I have been logging back in onto this Wikipedia page to have a look, and it has remained on there. So someone at Wikipedia is very convinced that John Simm is going to be in this special. Obviously, we know from Russell that he hasn't started writing it yet, but maybe there's been conversations with John Simm, or maybe this is just someone on Wikipedia trolling. That's also possible. I gotta be honest, John Simm isn't someone I even considered coming back, but I guess it would kind of make sense. If you're doing like a big final blowout with like, you know, if it is Russell's final episode, maybe it would make sense to get him back. I do really like John Simm a lot. I actually think he's quite underrated as the Master, so I wouldn't be against seeing him again. At the same time, I don't know how much I believe this, but I thought I'd mention it because it's quite interesting. Because I couldn't even see it on like his IMDb or anything either, or any other site. It's just Wikipedia that says this. So whether that means anything or someone is just having a mess about, I don't know, but there you go. Finally, I just wanted to point this out because I thought it was fun. David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa reunited at the Speakeasy Awards, which are the British Audio Awards, which basically celebrate, you know, audio books and audio dramas. And apparently Ncuti Gatwa won an award for his performance in The Great Gatsby audiobook that he did, or audio drama. So very happy for him, but obviously David Tennant went along as well. Big Finish were also in attendance, and they actually posted something of the two of them together. Let me get that up. Yeah, you can see in their thread here, do wish us good luck tonight at the first Speakeasy event, the British Audio Awards 2025. It says Big Finish there, and it says, if nothing else, it was worth it to see these two reunited. And it's a picture of Tennant and Gatwa at the Speakeasy. And I hope that someone at Big Finish approached Ncuti and asked him about audios, because if there's any Doctor that needs them of the revived series, it would be him. Whether he would do them or not, I have no idea, because I imagine his schedule's pretty busy. But like, I'd love it if he did some, because I think we need like some more stuff with him, and I'd be interested to see how other writers would approach him too. And yeah, hopefully they did ask him, but he did put out a statement saying how much he loved the medium of audio as well. So he's a fan, so if you can get him, then that would be great. Maybe we'll see them reunite again in 2026. Who knows at this point? I don't even know whether Russell T Davies knows, but in any case, let me know what you guys think. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.